We wanted a strategic Bitcoin reserve. Instead, we got 50-year mortgages, $2,000 stimmies, and a government selling America to the highest bidder. I mean, what's next? Sell your organs? Make this madness stop. Unfortunately, my brothers and sisters, it's just getting started. This is the final form of fiat decay. The great debt serfdom. You work your whole life just to rent the illusion of ownership from a bank. Why is our generation so unhappy, you ask? Well, maybe it has something to do with us making more than ever, yet we own nothing. The state prints our future away and calls it help. And the truth is, ain't nobody gonna help you. Especially in the state it spits on us. We gotta help ourselves. We gotta empower ourselves, and we have to build a better future for ourselves. And guess what? It'll change everything, and it's happening right now. While this insidious fiat system dies, a new one is taking shape. And believe it or not, things are more bullish for Bitcoin than ever. And by the end of today, you won't be voting harder. You'll be stacking harder. Let's go. This is the housing market right now. A lean-to of credit scams held up by a splinter of hope. We got lower credit score requirements, 50-year mortgages, and everyone's pretending nothing's wrong. Well, he's not wrong here. We're in stage 2, the big print. Rates down, credit standards gone, and debt skyrocketing. I mean, really, anything to protect boomer assets while our generation gets bent over by 50-year mortgages. A 50-year loan. Now let's talk about Trump, because this week he's on a roll, selling out America like a Black Friday special.
Folks are not thrilled about this idea of hundreds of thousands of foreign students in the United States. We have about 350,000 Chinese. One point during COVID, you were going to, push to, get them out, but that was pulled back. You've said as many as 600,000 Chinese students could come to the United States. Why, sir, is that a pro-MAGA position when so many American kids want to go to school and there are places not for them, and these universities are getting rich off Chinese money?
Sure. Never said about China, but we do have a lot of people coming in from China. We always have, China and other countries. We also have a massive system of colleges and universities. And if we were to cut that in half, which perhaps makes some people happy, you would have half the colleges in the United States go out of business.
So what?
Well, I think that's a big deal.
Are they fans,
you would have the
fans of the United States?
Yeah, but you would have, as you know, historically, black colleges and universities would all be out of business. You would have a system of colleges and universities would go down the tubes.
So we're dependent on China to keep our university system going?
But I think it's good to have, I actually think it's good to have outside countries. Look, I want to be able to get along with the world.
They're not the French. They're the Chinese. They spy on us. They steal our intellectual property.
What, do you think the French are better?
Yeah.
I mean, really? I don't know. I'll tell you, I'm not so sure. We've had a lot of problems with the French, where we get taxed very unfairly on our technology, where, they put 25% taxes on American products. Look, assuming everyone treats us badly, because that's the way I am, but we take in trillions of dollars from students. The students pay more than double when they come in from most foreign countries. I want to see our school system thrive, but at the same time, I know you and I disagree. We're never going to agree on it, but that's okay. And it's not that I want them, but I view it as a business. We have millions and millions of people. Also, I want to get along with countries if possible. People are shocked. Remember, Hillary Clinton said, we'll be in a war. I stopped 8 wars in the last 9 months. I don't want to be in wars. If I am in a war, we're going to win the thing fast, and it'll be violent. But you know what? I don't want to be in wars. But one thing, you don't want to cut half of the people, half of the students from all over the world that are coming into our country, destroy our entire university and college system. I don't want to do that.
I wouldn't lose any.
And don't forget, MAGA was my idea. MAGA was nobody else's idea. I know what MAGA wants better than anybody else. And MAGA wants to see our country thrive.
Yeah, guys, because bailing out colleges that don't produce value is so MAGA, right? Half these institutions would go under if they had to stand on merit. Instead, we're printing to prop up the propaganda factories. Now watch this flip-flop.
Well, first of all, I think, and I know the H-1B very well, and it's something that I frankly use, and I shouldn't be allowed to use. We shouldn't have it. Very, very bad for workers. And second of all, I think it's very important to say, well, I'm a businessman, and I have to do what I have to do, and it's sitting there waiting for you, but it's very bad. It's very bad for business in terms of, it's very bad for our workers, and it's unfair for our workers, and we should end it. There's never going to be a country like what we have right now.
And does that
the
mean,
Republicans have to talk about it, Laura.
And does that mean the H-1B visa thing will not be a big priority for your administration? Because if you want to raise wages for American workers, you can't flood the country with tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of foreign workers.
You also do have to bring in talent. When
we
a
have
country
plenty of talented people
no, you
here.
don't. No, you don't.
We don't have talented people here?
No, you don't have. You don't have certain talents, and people have to learn. You can't take people off an unemployment line and say, I'm going to put you into a factory where we're going to make missiles, or I'm going to put you.
How did we ever do it before?
Well,
I'll
give you an example. In Georgia, they raided because they wanted illegal immigrants out. They had people from South Korea that made batteries all their lives. You know, making batteries are very complicated. It's not an easy thing. It's very dangerous. A lot of explosions, a lot of problems. They had like 500 or 600 people, early stages, to make batteries and to teach people how to do it. Well, they wanted them to get out of the country. You're going to need that, Laura. I mean, I know you and I disagree on this. You can't just say a country's coming in, going to invest $10 billion to build a plant, and going to take people off an unemployment line who haven't worked in 5 years, and they're going to start making missiles. It doesn't work that way.
So let me get this straight. In 2016, he says H-1Bs destroy American jobs. And in 2025, he says Americans ain't talented enough to build batteries. I mean, pick a lane, Don. Here's the truth. No one wants to say. This problem was engineered. In the 60s through 80s, companies trained workers. They built schools. They built skills. Then they got greedy. Why train Americans when you can import cheap labor and offload the cost to the state? Now you got a country that can't build anything without visa programs and stimulus checks. That isn't capitalism. That's corporate welfare for oligarchs. And they're all getting bailed out at your expense. I mean, tell me if it doesn't feel like a controlled demolition out there. Here we go. U.S. total debt, a record $98.8 trillion. Government, $38 trillion. Corporates, $43 trillion. Households, $20 trillion. Every sector maxed out. And they're still pretending this is all fine. This is Fiat's endgame, a currency so over-leveraged it needs QE just to breathe. Ray Dalio spelled it out in 1971. WTF happened? Well, we defaulted on our debts, and the market ripped 25%. 33, same thing. Default quietly, stocks rip. Why? Because when money dies, assets moon, and history might be rhyming.
In 1971, when I was a young clerk on the floor of the New York Stock Exchange, the United States ran out of money and defaulted on its debts. That's right, the U.S. ran out of money. How? Well, back then, gold was the money used in transactions between countries. Paper money, like the dollar, was like checks in a checkbook in that it had no value other than it could be exchanged for gold, which was the real money. At the time, the United States was spending a lot more money than it was earning by writing a lot more of these paper money checks than it had gold in the bank to exchange for them. As people turned these checks into the bank for gold money, the amount of gold in the U.S. started to dwindle. It soon became obvious that the U.S. couldn't keep its promises for all the existing paper money, so people holding dollars rushed to exchange them before the gold ran out. Recognizing that the U.S. was going to run out of real money, on Sunday evening, August 15th, President Nixon went on television to tell the world that the U.S. was breaking its promise to let people exchange their dollars for gold. Of course, he didn't say it that way. He said it more diplomatically, without making it clear that the United States was defaulting.
The strength of a nation's currency is based on the strength of that nation's economy. And the American economy is by far the strongest in the world. Accordingly, I have directed the Secretary of the Treasury to take the action necessary to defend the dollar against the speculators. I have directed Secretary Connally to suspend temporarily the convertibility of the dollar into gold or other reserve assets, except in amounts and conditions determined to be in the interest of monetary stability and in the best interest of the United States.
I watched in awe, realizing that money as we understood it was ending. What a crisis. I expected the stock market to plunge the next day, so I got on the exchange floor early to prepare. When the opening bell rang, pandemonium broke out, but not the kind I expected. The market was up, way up, and went on to rise nearly 25%. That surprised me, because I never experienced a currency devaluation before. When I dug into history, I discovered that the exact same thing happened in 1933 and had the exact same effect. Then, paper dollars were also linked to gold, which the U.S. was running out of because it was spending more paper money checks than it had gold to exchange for them. And President Roosevelt announced on the radio that he would break the country's promise to exchange dollars for gold.
It was then that I issued the proclamation providing for the National Bank holiday. And this was the first step in the government's reconstruction of our financial and economic fabric. The second step, last Thursday, was the legislation promptly and patriotically passed by the Congress, confirming my proclamation and broadening my powers so that it became possible, in view of the requirement of time, to extend the holiday and lift the ban of that holiday gradually in the days to come. This law also gave authority to develop a program of facilitation.
In both cases, breaking the link to gold allowed the U.S. to continue spending more than it earned, simply by printing more paper dollars. Since there was an increase in the number of dollars without an increase in the country's wealth, the value of each dollar fell.
We're on the same track today. It's why this big print is coming. And this time it ain't just stocks and rocks. It's Bitcoin.
There is a role for gold, and there's a role for Bitcoin, which I believe are assets of fear. You own these instruments if you're frightened of the debasement of your currency. You own it if you have financial insecurities, or you own it if you have physical insecurities and worries. So that's one of the foundational issues of my journey in understanding crypto more. But today there's about $4.1 trillion sitting in digital wallets, growing very rapidly.
Even BlackRock's Larry Fink is telling China there's a role for Bitcoin. I don't know when the biggest asset manager on earth starts preaching the orange pill to Hong Kong. Well, you should know where the train is headed. It also appears that SoFi just announced Bitcoin trading for all customers, allegedly the first U.S. bank to do it.
Nice to see you, sir, in person.
Good to see you as well.
Okay, so what's going on here? This is a big deal.
Yeah, this morning,
a very big deal for you.
It is a very big deal. It's a big day and a big milestone. Reverses the course of time.
It does.
We've wanted to be a one-stop shop for all your financial services needs, and one of the holes we've had for the last 2 years was in cryptocurrency, the ability to buy, sell, and hold crypto. We were not allowed to do that as a bank. It was not permissible. But in March of this year, the OCC came out with an interpretive letter that it's now permissible for banks like SoFi to offer cryptocurrencies. So this morning we're launching, as the only national bank, the first and only national bank, the opportunity to buy, sell, and hold cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Solana.
So I was going to ask, are we just talking about 3 for now?
We'll expand well beyond 3. It'll be a pretty broad assortment. We try to differentiate on being fast, having broad selection, great prices, ease of use. So we'll try to give members, SoFi members, as much selection as they would like.
And what's the difference between going through you and going through Coinbase or going through Robinhood or somebody else?
Yeah, there's a couple of really big differences. First, we're a nationally chartered bank, which means we have the infrastructure, the processes, the financial conditions that provides the safeguards that a consumer would expect from a bank, which is going to allow us to scale responsibly. The second thing is, because we are a one-stop shop, you can do all your banking, checking, and savings at SoFi, your borrowing, and your investing, and now crypto. And one of the unique things about that is when you come to SoFi and fund your crypto investments, you'll fund them in a SoFi checking and savings account. that checking and savings account's deposits earn interest.
Say that again. You're going to fund it with crypto?
You're going to fund
your checking account.
You're going to fund your checking account with cash.
Okay.
And then when you buy Bitcoin or Solana or Ethereum, the money will come straight out of your checking savings account. So when you're not putting cash to work, it's not sitting in an account that earns no interest, and it's not sitting in an account that's not insured. So the money will sit in an FDIC insured account. Up to $2 million is what we offer. And when you buy, it will instantly withdraw from that account and send it to the marketplace.
Well, that sounds bullish until you realize you don't own it. That's paper Bitcoin, IOUs that can and will be frozen. Real Bitcoin lives in your wallet, not their database. Self-custody is the peaceful revolution. If you have any hope in the future for yourself, you see this and say, nope, that's a losing game. I'm opting out of that, and I'm using the best form of money ever created or discovered that some Washington can't debase or steal. And guess what? Merchants are too, because they're sick of being debased. We're about to bring it home today, but before we do, look at our likes.
3 or 4 times, maybe. I gotta pump those numbers up. Those are rookie numbers in this racket.
Let's take a quick second for our sponsors who keep this show on the air over at the Bitcoin Way. If your wealth lives in their system, it's not yours, it's theirs. That's why we scream Bitcoin. That's why you self-custody. And that's why you call our friends over at the Bitcoin Way. They'll walk you through multi-sig, self-custody, privacy, how to run a node, and the tools that keep you sovereign when the fiat system pulls the plug. Don't wait till it's too late. Book a free 30-minute consult today using that link in the show notes. Need cash but don't want to sell your Bitcoin? Ledn is the global leader in Bitcoin-backed loans, issuing over $9 billion in loans since 2018, and they were the first to offer proof of reserves. With Ledn, you get custody loans, no credit checks, no monthly payments, and more. Visit learn.ledn.io/simply to learn more and get 25 basis points off your first loan.
Bitcoin can help diversify how you spend, save, and invest in your business, especially when every swipe of a credit card eats away at your bottom line. Let's say you run a local grocery chain. Most purchases are small, like a bag of produce or a gallon of milk, so credit card fees start to add up fast. With Square, you can now accept Bitcoin with zero payment processing fees, no chargebacks, and near instant access to funds. And you choose how money settles into your account, whether in USD or Bitcoin, instantly and right from your Square dashboard. Whether you're aiming for short-term goals or planning for the long haul, you can automatically convert a percentage of your daily card sales into Bitcoin. No extra steps, no added complexity. It's a smart, seamless way to build savings in the background, all while keeping your day-to-day cash flow predictable. And when tax time comes, you'll get the paperwork you need right where you find your reports and bank statements. Bitcoin is just another way for you to take control of how your business makes and spends money. Enable Bitcoin payments and conversions in your Square dashboard. Head to squareup.com/Bitcoin to learn more.
This is the signal. Jack Dorsey just lit the fuse. Square now lets millions of merchants accept Bitcoin. Zero fees until 2027. And he's begging them to keep it in Bitcoin to survive dollar debasement. Merchants are opting out in real time. And this is how freedom scales. Not with votes, but with code and conviction. They're printing our future away in real time, and they call it saving the system. I think they're just buying time before it collapses. Don't vote harder, stack harder. Don't beg the state for help. Opt out of it. Bitcoin is your vote for a future they can't steal. Be empowered, not debased. Hey, hope you guys enjoyed this one. Let us know what you think below, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and share the Sound Money Gospel, and set those notifications, and I'll catch you all tomorrow. Love you guys. Peace.
If you prefer to go down with the ship, you.